Hello and welcome to my vlog. This is my second devlog. I think it's my second. You'll see the number below. Last time I talked about a game that I was building called Svarog, which is based on a Slavic pagan god, and my misunderstanding of Slavic pagan mythology, despite it being my own background. I decided to work on more on that game, but I have abandoned Pico 8, and I'm going to go ahead and show you why. I found out about Godot, this little fun game over here, or game. It's a game engine that has become very popular. I always struggled with Unity, and for some reason when I started working with Godot, I'm like, this clicks. This clicks for me. This makes sense to me. I'm going to go ahead and stick with it, and I feel like I'm getting better and better with it. On top of that, I also found out about this really cool tool that I have not installed. That's strange. Called Aseprite. I highly recommend getting this. This is like $20 or something. Yeah, it definitely has not finished downloading. I guess it must have, I don't know. Steam has been having some issues where it'll mark something that's installed as not, and when you try to install it, it'll just be like, oh, never mind, it actually works. So Aseprite is a really cool, like a pixel art editor that I use, and with it I've been drawing all kinds of tile maps and working on all kinds of art for my game. This is my main editor for art for my game. I wanted to do some pixel art stuff, and I have no Photoshop, no Illustrator at the moment, nothing of that sort. What's cool about it is that, yeah, it's like $20, but it has like this awesome, let me show you a self-portrait actually. It has this really awesome user interface that's super simple. You still have layers just like in Photoshop, but you don't have like the preview of the layer. It will show you if you have an empty layer, I think, though. Yeah, see, there's like nothing there, and the second I draw, yeah, it shows up that it's an active layer. So that's kind of cool, and it has all kinds of other cool features. One of the main ones that's really important to me, and I'm going to go ahead and just display the character that I'm building, is the fact that I can import any kind of palette in here. And so what I did was I recreated my Pico 8 game, Svarog, in Godot and using Aseprite for the pixel art. I was really worried that this would be an issue, like working on the pixel art, but it's actually really fun. So that's one reason why I'm using Aseprite, and so you can see this is like my main hero now. The game has changed significantly. You are now playing as a forest spirit called Lesnik that has two horns. I need to work on my art. I do, but you know, it's getting better. It has two horns. It has a green beard. If this was high res, this should look more like a, I don't want to say algae, but like moss or whatever. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to say. You know, and the character is holding a sword. The next reason why this is such a cool little tool here is that it allows you to do animations, and animations in like the simplest way possible. And I love simple animation systems. I did animations in Photoshop. I remember when Photoshop first came out with animations and being able to do like video stuff, it was it just blew my mind. But I also remember that it had this really simple and straightforward interface, and I don't think anybody really uses Photoshop for for animations, but it worked really well, and so this system was brought over here and made even simpler. So as you can see, I have a character here. If I click on the next one, the character moves a little bit, and if I click on the next one, the character moves a little bit again. It is not perfect, obviously. Like, there are a lot of issues, and this is not a great walking animation. This is a horrible walking animation, in fact, but it was so awesome and fun to draw this. And I drew a bunch of other stuff, so I should really show off all of the cool stuff that I've done. So I did the self-portrait, which kind of looks like me. Here I have my mic. I have a new mic stand. My new mic stand is actually a Amazon Prime box from like 2016 that for some reason I used it for moving, and ever since then I was like, all right, let me just keep it. And then it turned out to be just the right height for recording a podcast, and I'm recording a podcast these days, so that if I'm just like relaxed sitting here, I'm talking literally directly into the mic. For video, I'm noticing that it obscures enough of my face where it looks like I'm just like a head talking with no mouth. It's weird. Anyway, so it kind of looks like me. I wear these clear glasses. Yeah, yeah, it's starting to come together. I got the mustache. I usually have a little bit more stubble. I usually have this a little bit cut more, so obviously that doesn't fit exactly. But I have earrings and I have a nose ring, so yeah, this is like my ever evolving self-portrait, and I kind of want to like keep an eye on it. And maybe I should do it as like frames. Like each time I want to make big change, I'll just create a new frame so that then I can see the evolution of my artwork, because this is not the first rendition of a self-portrait. I have built out a tile set for my game. I borrowed what I had in Pico 8, and I don't have any of the files, so I had to rewatch my own devlog and like pause it in the right spot and start drawing out the tiles. Yeah, so this is my like grassy tile set. I followed some conventions that were set out by Godot. So Godot has like an auto tiling system, and I'm going to show that off as well. And this auto tiling system requires you to have, or like I guess encourages you to have all of these different arrangements of your tiles, except for this up here. I added a bunch of like random grass. Yeah, this was more like for testing out my grass drawing skills, and then I ended up putting in the game. But the auto tiling system looks at these different tiles, and let's see if we can actually display these. Grid. No. Show onion skin. That's not, I don't know what an onion skin is. Show grid. Oh, there we go. So each one of these is like a tile. So in Pico 8, the tiles were, I believe, 9 by 9 or 8 by 8, something like that. These are 16 by 16, so we get a lot more detail here. And it's still a work in progress. You can kind of see that these tiles up here have a little bit better shading, and this looks a little bit flatter. But it's all inspired by the original game. I'm using the what do you call it? The palette of Pico 8 still. And it's fun. And so the way the auto tiling system works is that it can recognize that the character can step into this area, and you can just kind of draw out the boundaries a little bit. And so if there's like a corner boundary in your level as you're drawing it, it'll just put this tile there, and all these different other tiles are meant to handle different edge cases. This might look a little bit weird, but this is when you have a wall on the right, and you have a single space you can walk through, and you can turn left or you can turn up, and you have two corners. So that's like a really weird edge case, but it actually I'm gonna draw some tiles, and it'll be very obvious that these come up a lot. And this is like a single tile, so if there's like a single tile just by itself and nothing else, it'll be this one. Then I drew some stairs. I'm not entirely sure why I ended up drawing 4 different ones from 4 different angles. You can rotate the tiles without an issue in Godot. But again, I took the tile set that I had in Pico 8 and I kind of modified it a little bit, obviously made it a little bit higher res, and this is kind of what I came up with. And I have so much fun with it. You know, I haven't done any art projects in a very long time that I've enjoyed so much as these tile sets. Like I would sit down and like draw these tiles and work on them, and maybe it doesn't look like a lot of work, but it took a lot to just get to this point. And it's fun, and this program is a part of why it's so much fun. Oops, because it's really simple to get started. It's really simple to create a brand new sprite, and you're like, okay, I want a 16 by 16 tile. Let me go ahead and load up Pico 8 again, you know, and you have your middle button just like zooms you in as close as you need to be. I'm gonna go ahead and just grab this color here. Why don't I have a green background? And you can see how like with ease and with speed I'm able to like start drawing these tiles, and maybe I want to make it animated, and that's a huge part of it too, right? Like I want to do, I don't know how to do new animation, new frame, there we go. So these are identical, so maybe I'll just gonna change it, and then I can load up a color into my right click up here, so I'm able to like erase some of this. Let's do another frame, because what was I clicking on? I don't know what I was doing. New frame. Alright, so and this one maybe it will look a little bit different. And then you can just press play, and look, you have a really crappy animation within like 5 seconds. It's just a powerful, astounding piece of software. I kind of wish they had an affiliate link so I could just start a whole YouTube series and try to fund myself through referrals to their program. I don't think they do. I'm obviously not sponsored by them or anything like that. So there was my grass tile set. I also created a... yeah, this is like the export of the of those frames of the animation of my character. You can see with the really bad feet. And this is actually something I put in Godot, and I can slice the image up, and it's so easy. Like this is what makes everything so encouraging to do. It's so easy to slice this up into 3 different frames that can like alternate, right, and create that animation. All right, let's see what else. Important stuff. I have a I'm missing one from the recent ones. Recent folders, characters. Let's look at tile maps. Yeah, mountains. That's one. And let's see. No, it's not a character. I had caves somewhere. Caves, there we go. So I'll show off the PNG for that. So with mountains, I need to create some mountains, and I just kind of created it this way. There are some cool tools, other tools. I duplicated that previous tile set, and again, I looked at my Pico 8 designs, and I decided to just kind of make things a little bit different. And again, you can see that this is the same structure as that grass tile set, and this is for caves, and it works beautifully. Obviously, this needs a little bit more work. I think that with this tile set, it's actually much easier to see what I was talking about with, handling all these different edge cases. There we go. Yeah, so this is an edge case of you have a wall on the right, and you have, you have like a corner piece and a corner piece, and they can attach to just about anything, right? Like once you set this up. So let's see. Then I also created my first enemy. It's a raven. Let's watch it animate. Well, that's not very good. I kind of took the idea of like, ravens are pretty big in Slavic mythology, and I drew this, and then I realized that this looks almost like is it a black hawk, I think it's called, or black eagle, which are the coat of arms for Silesia, which is the region that I come from, and I believe it's a coat of arms for Poland as well, and there are like several different black eagles in Central Europe that are on the coat of arms of different countries and regions that look almost exactly like this, and that was not my intention, but it was a funny side effect. So again, like I was able to make these like really easy animations and then stick those into the game. Oh, what did I do? I think I turned it off by accident. Oh well, whatever. I don't have to save it. I'll figure it out later. That's it, I think, for all the different sprites. So I've been busy with sprites, and then Aseprite just like pairs really well with Godot, and it's really cool that I can keep up with all of this in Steam. I'm noticing slowly that Steam is becoming a little bit of like a package/software manager. Like I have these 2 pieces of software through Steam, and like I installed Godot manually, but I just like the convenience of having it run from Steam, and I also like the convenience of Aseprite running from Steam. I don't want to keep up with updates. I don't want to rely on their auto-updating, like own auto-updating system. I can just use this. And I wonder what else is going to be out on Steam. And, I wonder if there are going to be any... Yeah, I wonder if we're going to one day see like Chrome that you can download from Steam. That would be funny. All right, so Godot has all kinds of different test projects you can check out. I want to mention real quick how fast it is to load this in comparison to Unity. Unity takes a while, and I actually got a really powerful PC from the last time I did any vlog or whatever, and it's being underutilized. It's being like heavily underutilized because none of these applications, like Aseprite obviously doesn't require a lot of energy or like a lot of resources. Let's close that out anyway. And Godot just doesn't require a lot either, especially if you're doing 2D. So it's funny. I can directly run it, but let's go ahead and just edit it and see it. This is my secondary screen. Oh wow, that creates a really interesting green glow against me. So this is the character, this is the game, and you can kind of see already this is the tile set and how the tile set works out. So for some reason my computer decided that it was going to stop the recording. I have plenty of space, but now I don't know what I talked about or what I didn't. I have about 15 minutes of the video, and I'm cutting these together, so I guess it shouldn't be much of a difference for you. So here's the Godot game. I'm going to start the Godot part of this devlog over. I think the only thing I really got to was how bright this green is. So yeah, you can. I think within a few minutes you'll see why I'm so excited about Godot and why I abandoned Pico 8. One of them is that you have this whole like scene manager, so you're no longer dealing with lots of small snippets of Lua, and I think it's Lua or Lisp. I don't know. Whatever Pico 8 is using, this is a much more preferable way of doing things. And one of the main reasons is this like tile map thing here, and what you can do with it. And I'm gonna go ahead and like show you why I had to draw all those different like specific tile situations. It's because you have this auto tile system. Like I made one tile over here, and you'll recognize this tile from my sprite sheet. I made 2 tiles, and it uses these 2 corner tiles. It makes 3 of them, and it automatically, I'm gonna zoom way in, it automatically kind of figures out that you need these tiles to work together. What happens if I put this one here? It changes tiles a lot, and you can see that I have a lot of work to actually do with my tile set because it doesn't blend things very seamlessly. But you can see that this is a very specific situation in this auto tiling system that you have to account for when you're drawing your tile set. You have a solid wall on one end, and I drew this as a wall that ends, unfortunately, which is where I need to do some work. And then you need 2 corner pieces so that you can connect this wall with this wall. So you have a tile that's wall and 2 corner pieces, and then you need them for each direction, and then you need some other situations. What if this was the case where you have one side and only 1 corner piece? And you can see that there are different tiles that are being replaced, and this is actually from my updated tile set. You can see that it has the white on there, and these are the older ones that I haven't updated yet from that sprite sheet. So you can see that they do kind of clash in some ways. Because of this tool, you can just draw. You can delete, you can craft these, environments that you want to have, and it's just kind of amazing with how well it works. I actually don't know why this is here, but it's probably something I screwed up in the setup. It's wonderful. And so again, you see that like I don't have to draw this manually. I don't have to move the tiles around manually. And obviously that takes away a little bit of the magic, but I am more concerned with productivity than magic when it comes to this game that I'm building. I want to get it done, right? And you can see I have trees here. The trees look horrible. I have mountains. They look horrible. But, I got this done. And I have this enemy here, which I haven't really done any work on yet to be an actual enemy, but you have a simple animation, and this is literally how it's set up. You have an animation called default. It runs by default. This is the first frame, and this is the second frame, and you can see the frame on the right here changing, and that's as simple as like how you can make this happen. For the player, it's a very similar deal where you can actually just say, I'm walking right, run the walk right animation. You just name the animations in a very, sensical way, and you can then refer to those animations and make things work really well. You can actually edit the player in a separate scene. I don't know if Unity had that, but I'm so happy that Godot does, because here I can do all kinds of fun stuff. I can mess with the sprite, and you can see that the sprite actually has all 3 of these sprites. And I've set up that the sprite sheet has 3 frames, and it automatically divided those in equal sizes, and so we got the right sprite at the end of it. I also even have a a camera set up for the character, and all you need to do is click on this part, and it sets it as the camera for the game. The reason I mentioned the camera is because with Pico 8, I had to kind of build out my own camera system, whether that meant, changing levels when you reach one side of the screen, or in the case of like a platformer, keeping the character in the middle and moving the map around them rather than having the character moving independently of its environment. And in this case, I attached a camera to the player, so as the player moves, the maps scrolls and the player stays in the middle. And that was something that I had a really hard time setting up in Pico 8, but I'm actually glad that I have the background of how important and how difficult that can be, because it really makes me appreciate this engine so much more and makes me enjoy it so much more. So why don't we play a little bit? I don't have any music set up currently. I do have like regular WASD movement set up. You can move around. That was a mistake, actually. That was not supposed to happen. There are still bugs. It looks like I have collisions set up on all of these. So you should not be able to, like, you can overlay it, but you can't move past it. Unfortunately, I was working with a scene changing script, and I set every single collision to take you to the next level. So you can't, if you touch anything, you're done. You will be at the next level, which I guess brings up an interesting point, because you could build out a whole maze and with a simple tile set and use this character movement. And if the player touches the wrong button and collides with a wall, you could immediately take them to the death screen or whatever. So it's really easy to rapidly prototype these games, and I did minimal amount of scripting. So all I did was I set up the player to have collisions. I set up the sprite for the player. The collision shape is right here. You can see kind of blue. So it's actually just the character's like feet essentially. I had no reason to collide the entire body, because I honestly don't want to, because I want to be able to overlay the character against a wall or whatever else it might be. I think that's about it. So I have this set up. Let me go ahead and just play a little bit more of it. We have the raven here. That's going to be my first enemy. There's plenty of places to like go explore in this map. I do have a second scene that you can enter. It uses the cave tile set, which kind of makes sense, but it doesn't even have collisions set up, so it doesn't transport us or do anything here. So I'm still working on that. I'm hoping that within, and yeah, you can see that I don't even have the auto tile set correctly set up because you have these gaps here. I'm hoping that I can participate in some game jams, or at least get this game into like a semi-working state where I can pre-release it. I would be really happy with that. And I think like with Godot and Aseprite, it's not something that's impossible, so we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much for watching the devlog. I'm probably going to do more of these because I'm enjoying working on this game, and I do a lot more art. And so I feel like if I do devlog, it's not just, oh, hey, here are like 20 lines of code that I figured out in the past game or in the past several weeks or whatever. So yeah, you can here it is. You change scene to it's not supposed to be mountain level. It's supposed to be the cave level. And it's on any collision. But yeah, so I didn't want to just do like code updates without any gameplay updates nor any art updates, and I'll be doing a lot more of those now. So I'm excited. I hope you all liked it. Subscribe and all that if you are new to my channel, and I will see you next time.